impossible to cut yourself. Just like you were washing clothes, you rub it up and down, and you really grate your vegetables real fine, retaining all the flavors and all the juices. Breadcrumbs for when you're serving veal cutlets or anything like that. You want a little breadcrumbs to fry your fish in? Well, there's the greatest proposition in the world. Use that for coconut, cheese, or horseradish. When you're through with it, just heat it down like that. That knocks all the food out. Rinse it out in a little water and hang it up and let it dry. Now here is a stone made of carborundum and sapphire quartz, which is made purposely to keep these knives sharp. When they get dull, a few strokes over the edge like this, and you can put a keen cutting edge on it. If you have a dull knife or a dull pair of scissors, an old sickle or a scythe, a lawnmower, cleaver, an axe, there's a tool that will really put an edge on the knife so the knife will really cut for you. I just want to give you an idea of how sharp that knife really is when you sharpen it with that stone. Ladies, I've seen some of you try to open up cans. Now, there's a can of Campbell's baked beans. I've seen ladies open up a can and you poke a hole in it, go around the top, hippity-hop, and your finger slips. Let me show you a real proposition. Look, lay it on the can, lift up the safety, and turn the key. That locks itself on the can. No harder than you were winding up your watch. Wind up the key and that'll cut the top off of the can slick and smooth. Notice how the end raises itself up in the air so you can lift the lid off, giving you a clean, smooth edge. Now that can be used for sardine cans, square cans or round cans, exactly the same way. Now this tool here, my dear friends, needs no introduction. This will save you on an average of $20 to $30 every year you use it as a peeling knife. Here's a grater for cheese, coconut, or horseradish, a fish scaler for scaling your fish, and when you're coring your apple, it's just a slight twist of the wrist, and there's the apple core. There's one more tool that I want you to see, and I want you to watch this one very closely. Many a times when you're baking a pie, you have a pudding in the oven. I've seen ladies wrap a towel around your hand, and many a times you burn your fingers. Hook this onto the pot like this and lift the hot pots off the top of the stove. You've got a pie pan in the oven? Get a hold of the pie pan like this. Why, you couldn't get it off with a team of horses. This will positively lift 100 pounds. There's a pail of water weighs 50 or 60 pounds. That's the way you pick it up. But there's one more tool. I'll be all through and I'll be finished. Oh, now the next tool and the last one is what they call the Sarah Bernhardt cutter. This was invented by the head chef of the Imperial Hotel in the city of Berlin, Germany. You place the screw into the center of the vegetable. Twist the vegetable until the threads catch a hold, then you wind this up. You keep winding until you utilize the whole potato. The faster you turn, the quicker the slices. Why, ladies, here's a machine for slicing onions. The first onion that you slice with this cutter, you'll bless the day you've got a hold of it. Every slice cut exactly the same thickness. Every slice cut the same size. In making what they call a rosette, pull the vegetable out like this. Pin the ends together with a toothpick. Drop that potato into the hot fat and fry it. That will come out like a donut, golden brown. If you're serving a nice fish dinner, a little parsley goes in the center with the fish all around it, makes a very appetizing dish. Did you ever try to slice onions with a knife? You know how you get one thick slice and one thin slice? Run the knife through the center. That will separate each slice individual. Almost like magic, there is every slice cut exactly the same thickness and the same size. Wouldn't you like to have a set like this in your kitchen? Why, of course you would. Now, don't forget, attend this theater every week and receive this 12-piece fascinating... Ladies and gentlemen, the management of this theater takes great pleasure in making this announcement. To each lady attending this theater each week, will receive absolutely free a fascinating 12-piece kitchen cutlery set, one piece each time. It is really interesting and amazing to know how you can prepare your meals in an appetizing and pleasing manner. There's an old saying, and a true one, that what is pleasing to the eye is bound to be pleasing to the appetite. I'm going to demonstrate this set to you, and I want you to watch it very closely. The first cutter that I'm going to show you, now this first one is known as the Parisian cutter. Wind it through the potato like a corkscrew. When the cutter appears on the opposite side, pull the cutter out. Place the handle in the center and twist it out. This is what they call a French curl. When you fry these, they come out like donuts, nice and brown. Serve them with your steaks or pot roast them. Unwind it, there's 2 curls out of the 1 potato. Tomorrow morning for breakfast, wind a little strip of bacon around the potato and serve them with bacon and eggs. They're delicious. Different colored vegetables, wind them together and you get the 2 colors. Here's a little trick cut. Split the curl halfway through the center. If you're making a shrimp salad and you happen to run short of shrimp, mix these in with the regular shrimp. On my word, you couldn't tell the difference until you start to eat them. Now the rest of the potato, you stuff it. We'll call this a little chicken. We'll call this here some hamburger. You might have a little meat that's been laying in the ice box for a few days. Chop the meat up fine, season it highly, stuff it into the center of the potato and bake them with the skins on. When they're done, cut them in 2. Serve them on the half shell just like that. Serve them in slices when company calls. The more company you have, the thinner you cut the slices. If your mother-in-law calls, give her a beak piece like that. Now the second tool in the set is known as the garnishing knife. Everything you cut with this must come out fast. Down, you turn the potato and then you cut through the edge. First one way and then the other. Sweet potatoes cut like this, drop them into a little batter of pancake flour and fry them. When they're golden brown, sprinkle molasses on them. Serve them with strips of bacon for breakfast while they're delicious. Here's beets, you pickle them, and carrots, you steam or cream them. In making the original French fried potato, cut them in thick slices. Put them one on top of each other. Cross-cut the slices, and you'll never eat a French fry any other way. The potatoes cut like this will not absorb the fat because they're garnished around. Pineapples cut for your pineapple and cheese salad, cut them the same way. Here is one, and this is a dandy. Cuts any thickness or any size. Open it for a thick slice, close to the top for a thin slice. Saratoga chips, you can make them for 3 or 4 pennies a pound. Just pull the blade towards you like this. If you want the slices thicker than this, open the blade, there's a thick slice. Shoestrings for your Friday fish dinner, cut them down like this. Chop them up for your vegetable soup. What this knife is really intended for is for cutting the cabbage. You know the old-fashioned board, how you rip and tear, sometimes nipping the ends off your fingers. Lay it flat and pull it lightly towards you over the cabbage. The weight of the knife across the cabbage is all that's necessary. Why, ladies, when you get slaw cut as fine as this, you'll certainly appreciate eating it. The crowning feature of the set is the cutter that I'm going to show you now. This is known as the champeen vegetable mincing knife and noodle cutter. Now, when you want to make some real fine noodles at home, you roll the dough out like this. Dip this into a little flour so it doesn't stick to the dough, and as you roll it over the dough, that will cut the noodles in long strips 10 at a time. Did you ever try to chop up a little nuts for cake? Why, I've seen ladies chop nuts and the nuts land up on the ceiling. Sometimes you chop the ends off your fingers when you want to chop up a little nuts for cake. Cooked meat, clams for chowder, soup greens to throw into your soup. Making a little pepper or chicken hash is just a few strokes rolling it up and down. Why, here is without a doubt the meanest thing in the world to cut parsley. Put that in a grinder, you really grind it too fine. This machine, instead of crushing the parsley, cuts it quick, clean, and dry, leaving every bit of the juice and every bit of the flavor. Now, to clean this machine, you press the button. Rinse it out in a little water. When you're through using it, hang it up and let it dry. Here's one here that every lady should have in her home, known as the Parisian scoop. You lay it flat, once to the right, once to the left. When you scoop them out, you'll get a perfect round little ball. You can pot roast these, cut them out of cheese or cut them out of butter. When you're serving a fruit cocktail in the summertime, take your fresh cantaloupe, scoop them out like this, mix them with apples, pears, and watermelons, makes a delicious fruit cocktail served with a little cracked ice like you see here. But here's a tool, ladies, if you ever do get it, you'll thank the day you've seen this demonstration. When you press, it locks. It's like a pair of human hands. Reach in the oven and take the biscuits out of the oven. Ever take the hot potatoes out of the oven and burn yourself on the elbow? A roast chicken out of the oven, a piece of meat out of the pot, spinach, asparagus out of the water. Why, around canning season, when you're preserving the fruits, to take the hot fruit jars out of the water like that, that machine is worth dollars to you. And here's another one that I really know you'll enjoy having in your kitchen, known as the safety grater. No doubt you're familiar with the old-fashioned grater. I've seen ladies take a grater and rip the knuckles off. When you want to grate up potatoes for delicious potato pancakes, this has a smooth, flat edge, impossible to cut yourself. Just like you were washing clothes, you rub it up and down, and you really grate your vegetables real fine, retaining all the flavors and all the juices. Breadcrumbs for when you're serving veal cutlets or anything like that. You want a little breadcrumb?
Hello, Mixer. How we doing this evening? Doing a little pork tenderloin tonight. Oh, just about the only thing that I didn't freeze. I still have to do those hams, and they're frozen now. So I'm going to start by cleaning that up. Also going to be doing a potato slaw, or potato and cabbage slaw with some bacon. Or, am I actually going to do the bacon tonight? Yeah. But it means I need to defrost it. Because I have more than enough bacon right now. Hey Apache, how you doing this evening? Welcome back. I am lovely, other than I have been rather unmotivated all day. And so I had to rush to be ready for stream today. So now I'm sort of, almost, we're all set now. So we'll get going with some warm water on this bacon. Well, some not cold water on this bacon. Get that defrosting so we can do that, and then this is the partial tenderloin that was left from the pig. This one cut a couple of chops off with the end of that guy on there. I'm going to toss this bag out. I'll be right back. Yeah. It's certainly just the day, or sometimes allergies get to me, or other things will get to you in your body, and you just won't realize it. So there's quite a bit of fat still on this because, well, I didn't trim it off before. But you still got the chain attached here as you would normally call it on a beef tenderloin. I don't know if it's still called that on pork. Which, this is where you get all your tips and stuff like that, all the scrap pieces out of this. Tenderloin tips, rather. Trying to cut that off, it's just peeling. Try and leave that on. It's usually attached up here. I don't know if it's still attached right now. Not seeing much in the way of silver skin here, that's good. But maybe just because we're dealing with pork, there's probably a little bit right under here. Silver skin is a term for, if you notice how the skin, this is silver skin actually here underneath. There's a lot of meat sort of hiding it away there, but I'll bring it up to the camera here in a sec. It's almost silver shimmery to the look of it, and it's very tough, especially when you cook it, and so it's not very, you want to remove it. I mean, you can tell just by me pulling on there how much, it's got some strength to it. There's a better view of it there. Like that. It sort of looks like fat, but that ain't fat. Now you compare it to the other fat here. So you'll find that on beef tenderloins, pork tenderloins, Quite often. It's actually a common code. I don't remember them anymore. I had to memorize the different meat codes in college for the different normal butcher meat orders. But there is Pismo side on, I think it is. I don't remember them anymore, and they're all probably outdated compared to. They're not going to be what you ask your butcher for. So let's go through this. What am I doing with this? This is all still good meat here that we will save for other projects. That's more work than it's worth. And that's a bunch of veins and nastiness. So there's our tenderloin. Gonna leave that fat that's on there. That's all looking all right to me. I do know that you can buy. I've seen them in Costco. I haven't been in those shots in years, but the ones where you can buy them like that, the ones that are pre-packed like that, straight from one of the big producers, is they have it on there still in many cases. It's usually a much higher price item to buy if you don't have if you have it removed. In order to remove it, you do have to remove all this other stuff here that they're trying to sell you too. Like I was saying before, you have the chain, which is typically a bunch of fat and meat along one side of it too. That is actually, this was pretty good. Usually it's, like 5 or 6 small little pieces like that you'll get out of it. Yeah, it's good stuff. It's not going to kill you if you leave it on, but it is better if you take it off. Do I want to throw this in my compost? Yeah, compost needs to go out. I throw meat in my compost because I hand both my city removal accepts meat in with their compost, and I have a worm composter too that they'll eat right through that. And then I don't use it for my garden. I use it for like flowers and stuff. I need some water. A little funny when it comes to yeah. It depends. I actually enjoyed all of that fat. Not on the first one. On the first one, I absolutely did. Not the second day, but the first day, that first chop that I had with all of that fat on it last. What was that? Friday. Sunday. Don't remember days anymore. So we're gonna set this aside and let this just chill out, warm up to room temp, that sort of a thing. You guys hadn't noticed my Instagram photos. I still have got a little bit of lard there. That's a 4-inch hotel pan there. And then this is the nicer lard, which that'll be used for future baking. This is still wiggly soft. Like this would probably pour if I gave it Yeah, that would probably still pour. Barely. And the other one here, I'd bet probably the bottom quarter of this is solidified white, and the top half is still curing, I guess. I do need you, bacon. Well, we'll get started with making cookie dough then. I don't have butter ready either. This one's probably, yeah, this one's not bad, but this one I pulled out of the freezer. Potatoes. Yep. Raspberry. Knife is dirty. Not a huge batch. Should be about a dozen, I think. Actually, I should check I still have lime. I have a lime. Maybe it'll work. I have other citrus, and if it's not enough. I think I got some blood oranges in there. I think that's what I saw. So, these are going to be the largest pieces in our slaw here. Slaw. Hey, Amanda. Enjoy looking. Thank you for the sparks. Get that started there. Medium-low flame there. Let's try and make this frosting ahead of time. Get rid of this bag, I'll be right back. Are you one of those people that we should just keep knives away from, Apache? You seem to have this theme of thinking you're going to cut yourself. Let's start by zesting this guy. Zest will hopefully add a little color along with the oils and flavor from the skin, which there's lots of oils in the skin of citrus. Ouch. Yeah, some of those old tins, especially the older designs, or if you're using an older cutter on them, can be pretty dangerously sharp. All right. Hearing noises outside. Still got hard butter here. So we'll mix that with a little powdered sugar. Let's see if this thing's got anything in it. I know I've got more powdered sugar, but oh, we got more in my jar. That's maybe a bit excessive. Start with that. Let's see if how well that all mixes in. Obviously that wasn't enough. It always surprises me how much powdered sugar you can dissolve into stuff. It's probably because it's so fine its surface area. It's probably like equivalent of trying to mix in cotton candy. Definitely going to have more frosting than we needed, and I was worried that I wasn't going to have enough juice. Cotton candy's great, but you gotta have the machine to do it. I mean, there's home versions of cotton candy, but they're mostly junk. They're mostly yeah. Yeah, so that still hasn't thickened up nearly enough for me, so I'm gonna add a bit more. Just disappears. I mean, what is that? That liquid absorbed 6 times its volume in sugar now? 8 times? So I'm going to stop there, even though it's a little bit runny. We'll see if that thickens up. I can add more sugar later on. Still not there on you. How are we looking on you? We're starting to get closer on you. We can turn the oven on then. Turn our fan on. See how our camera mount is doing here. That's already failing. I gotta find a better system for camera mount above the system here. If you're watching my Instagram, or I forget where I posted it, maybe on Twitter, I bought a replacement one of these because the plastic here, all the plastic connecting up to the webcam between this arm and the webcam, just like started breaking down. I don't know if it was from steam. It doesn't get a ton of heat being that high, but it does get a fair amount of smoke and other chemicals and stuff like that. And so, in this one, I've already had to fix the mount that holds the ball in place. So, already sort of looking for replacements that are probably all metal or something like that that don't have to worry about the plastic breaking down. Let's get a pan going for bacon. Piece of parchment. What is that symbol? I'm not sure what that is. Oh, tape. Yeah. And it's black, but it's literally wrapped in duct tape right now. It's a little, like, tightening gasket on a ball joint, and the plastic had snapped, and so I've super glued it back and wrapped it in duct tape. Speaking of that, I also did my best to repair this guy, which, if you now notice there's a white seam there, which is a little bit of silicone that I put in between the side there, but I put some high vibration super glue, which we'll see. It means that it can't really take heat anymore as far as a knife, but knives really shouldn't take heat to begin with. Definitely not going to throw it in the dishwasher anymore. Not that I really did to begin with. This is still feeling maybe still a little bit. We still have a minute here waiting on the oven to warm up. Yeah, that's gonna need more sugar. No, it's not, Simon. Yes, I am here live in living color, coming to you from California. That's a little off kilter. Give that a little move there. So we're waiting on bacon to finish defrosting a little bit here. and our oven to warm up for cooking the bacon, and butter for our cookies, not quite defrosted yet either. All of it's live, Simon. Yep, that's all I really do on this channel is I do a cooking stream 3 nights a week. Working on cooking myself dinner for the next 2 nights. Well, mostly waiting to begin cooking. You get it, I mean. Taters are almost to a boil here. Yep, that's pretty common, Simon. There's not a ton of... There's a couple of chefs here on Mixer, but not that many. I'm just going to throw this out. I'll be right back. Yeah, that's what I was afraid of. I thought I turned that timer off. I didn't like that it was displaying that like a paragraph. I'm beginning to wonder if you're a bot or a real person, Simon. So maybe we won't do all of this bacon. We'll let it finish defrosting in the fridge. Yeah, let's use one of these over here. Come here, bag. There we go. Thank you for the sparks. All right, so that's ready to go. Just in time for the oven. Got the heat off on the potatoes. Gonna let those sit while the bacon cooks. Let me see if we're using those potatoes hot or cool. Really should have put a belt on before the stream started. Okay. The start of our slaw dressing, gonna do a sort of, gonna use sour cream for part of it, but I'm also gonna make a sort of a half homemade mayo. I'm gonna start with just grabbing an egg yolk here. Come on, there we go. A lot of people have dislikes of it. Excuse my arm for a sec here. But to me, it's a little more than an interesting combo of mayo and egg and oil. And I'm going to go pretty light on the oil here, which is part of the... Not quite sure what one that one is. Yes, I will be, Apache. Thank you for the auto host, Jamina. This is getting considerably thicker and thicker here as I add more oil in, as it should. Gonna add a touch of water here. Loosen everything back up a little bit. Thank you for having patience, Apache. I don't have as much. It's an 18+ stream, either it's a troll or an idiot. And I always want to give them the benefit of the doubt. A little shot of vinegar. Little Frank's. More people would probably use, the more traditional ingredients here would be lemon juice and Tabasco. And a little bit of I'll do a pinch of garlic or onion powder here too, if I don't get the fan to blow it all on me. Give that a quick mix up here. That'll loosen it up a little bit. I think that's good to go. Mix that with sour cream, our potatoes, bacon, and cabbage. May look yummy right now, but I haven't added much in the way of seasoning. Still need salt, pepper, MSG in my opinion. So we'll grab a couple of those. Do a good pinch of salt. Good shake of Ajinomoto. Okay, that's off. That's getting better here. Wow, it is hot here today. I mean, you look at that, that's like starting to melt, not just come to room temp. Well, it's almost raspberry time here. Well, it's definitely almost bacon time too. Might need another 2 minutes on this bacon after the timer, but want to make sure we're not burning it. Of course, we're not even smelling close to burnt, so we'll probably need that 2 minutes. Well, you notice I timed you out and I didn't ban you. Oops. Maybe pull that anyways. Yeah, that's probably pretty good. Bacon. Need to add some sugar to that. What is that doing in there? Do not leave measuring cups in. Take a look at this recipe again. Excuse me. Mm. Since I don't have a mixer, this is the step where you cream this in your mixer. In my case, I'm going to use a fork here and make sure it's all mashed up very well. It starts getting a little bit lighter in color like you would look for it in your mixer. Probably not going to do near as well of a job. That was an approximate 2/3 cup there. Turn that oven down to 350. Point here with mixing or creaming your butter with your sugar is to make sure that each of the sugar granules is completely coated in fat, so that when we go and add our flours and other things in there, they're completely coated. So when it cooks, the sugar melts, the butter melts, it just floods throughout the entire cookie. Add in our raspberries. Supposed to be using about an ounce of raspberries. I have no clue how much raspberries I actually used here, so. I'm using up the last of what I got in the house. Probably should have saved one or two beautiful ones for a photo, but nope. Oops, opened something I wasn't supposed to. Give me a second here, make sure my computer's still running. Okay. Okay, all is good. All is good. Need a little vanilla in here. And our flour, how much flour are you using? 2 cups. Quite a bit of flour. Should be done with the sugar for today. I sort of consider any measurement these days that's made with cups as not very accurate, and so I tend to be less accurate with cup recipes than someone does a recipe with grams or even ounces, because cups is just approximate. Cups are easy, but who's just, I mean, everyone packs them a little bit different. So you end up with different values for the same recipe a lot of the time. These are going to be beautiful red until we put them in the oven, and they're going to start to be a little bit brown. Yeah. Well, grams tends to be the new pretty much standard for most recipes these days, whether you're US or not. Unless you're going to like the New York Times. I guess the New York Times tend to be the standard when it came to dining and wine. It was always the articles to read and be news in the industry. So that's a pretty wet dough still. Do I have everything in this? That's all for the dressing, or for the frosting. Wow. That is it. So these are pretty soft. They have them. The recipe I'm reading has you balling these up and putting. That's going to be a mess. I'm just going to spoon these out. But, I mean, I have it flakes out half of the time because it gets wet and doesn't like life. But I use my coffee scale a lot of the time nowadays for all that good stuff. Because it's... So, I need a spoon. Don't know how much these are going to spread. It's quite a bit of butter. Yeah, let's do it like that. Not caring, there's unmixed flour in there. It's all going to melt into lovely goo. Actually, I'm going to work the rest of that in there though. Am I going to fit 3 of these in here? Let's see if we can fit 3 of these in here. These are small on that last guy. Thank you. There's no baking powder or anything in these. They ain't gonna rise, they ain't gonna pop. There's no egg. So there's nothing that's gonna make that. These are probably just gonna sort of set almost in place. You put both of them in here for I don't know how long yet. Probably 10 to 15. Check our recipe here. 13 to 15 minutes. The edges are slightly golden. Throw the rest of this butter in the fridge. I don't know why I really had that out. Let's see here. Yeah, that's still a little too soft for my taste. I can't help it. I put salt in everything. Now there is a frosting. It's been a while since I made one of these. Nope, doing it wrong. Come on. Sort of hit it the first time here. Guess I'm gonna go back to doing the long side. Trying to hold this and peel a piece of tape, it doesn't work at the same time very easily here. Should have had the tape ahead of time. There we go. Only took me 5 times as long as it should have. And we'll take ooh, that's limey. That's bright. A lot of lime flavor in that. I think I filled it. Yep, coming out the other end. So we overfilled it a little bit. So that's ready for when the cookies are ready. Forgetting about my potatoes back here. Let those cool down a little bit here. Thank you for the host. Sorry I can't see the screen very well right now. Jody, thank you. So I'm gonna let these cool off over here off to the side. And start in on cabbage. Still got the leftover cabbage from doing the quinoa slaw the other little while ago. I use up the rest of that today. Get this fresh cut as well. do too, especially summertime. I wish I made it more often, or thought to make it more often. Cutting that core out. Yeah, I'm telling you now, there's one thing that my channel will never have, and that is, there are some channels there, it's quite hilarious, that mods have the ability to surprise or alert their streamer. Yeah, that's not happening here. Well, I don't know. Maybe some other cooking streamers do. I wasn't talking a cooking streamer, so. Ooh, how did I miss those? No, they're still cut. They're just sticking together. Let's see, how much slaw do I really want to make tonight? I mean, I've got all this cabbage, but I think this is more than enough here. I think that'll cover me. Depends on my mood. I can definitely do that with other things. Don't know if I can do that with slaw. Now I can be dangerous with some tortilla chips and a bowl of salsa and cottage cheese. That's a dangerous one for me. Don't know the measurements on this sour cream. It's whatever's left of this small container. Going to add some onion powder. I'd normally add some onion and carrot to this mix here, but I ended up using all of it here on Sunday, and so I don't got any more, and I didn't feel like going out to get more just for this. So now we got sour cream slaw. Sour cream and onion slaw. Wow, it's hot. Add our homemade mayo into the mix. It's definitely smelling sour cream and onion right now. Oops. Those cookies are looking okay. I should have timed those. I'm gonna give them just a little. I'm gonna give them another 3 minutes. About 5 strips of bacon there. And our potatoes that have been still warm but chilling out during this time. And warm potatoes, mildly warm potatoes, gonna work and soak up all that loveliness, help break down that cabbage a little bit. And I'm gonna toss this in the fridge until we're ready for that. Need to do this up with a bit of salt and a bit of pepper first though. Ooh. Spilling salt all over the place here. Cracked pepper. And vinegar. Oh, shut up, oven. I'll be there in a moment. Thank you for the host crate mug. Hopefully you're having a lovely day. So we got raspberry cookies, just slightly golden on the edges here. I think those are going to set up nicely before we let them cool for a little bit. I need a place to let these cool. Bacon's fine to sit over here. It's cold now. Feeling really good at the hand at this point. Okay. So what else do we got to do here before we're all set? I got to ice my cookies. Gonna saute the tenderloin. Or sear the tenderloin. Slaw is going in the fridge for till we're ready. Let's get rid of our potato pot. And pull up medium cast iron here. I think it's time to reorganize a little bit here. We're looking rather messy. I was taught a messy station's a messy mind. Culinary Institute of America was born out of teaching military men to cook, and so it's got a whole lot of history of military life. It's not a military school or anything like that, but it's got a lot of military type history to it. Yeah, we're gonna have to wait on those cookies to set up a little bit before we can frost those. Guess we'll get started with our tenderloin here. Throw a little oil in the pan. Probably should have used some of that beautiful lard on the front of my counter. And then I did most of my butchering on this earlier. This is going to go in with, I don't know why I left that out. I'm going to give this a slice in half here. So we got 2 nice pieces, one for tonight, one for tomorrow. Alright, that's looking nice. Start nicely dried out here with the fan blowing over it while I was sitting here toying with other things. Looks like we're pretty much on track for about an average 2-hour night. Bring this over here where we can salt these guys pretty heavily. Everyone doing all right? Everyone doing okay? World's treating me okay. Well, comparatively at this time. Turn down the second mic. Yeah, I have that effect on people, create mode. cold pan's gonna, both the metal and the cold pan's gonna help cool these down a lot quicker so I can ice them here right after I finish with the Tenderloin. Roll up this bacon. Actually, let's roll that up on some paper towel. Oops. Rolling up paper towel, throw it in the fridge. Thank you for the auto host BU. Indie Wizard. Sorry if I missed anyone there. Nice. No. Yeah, it was a little messy there. Oh well. Yes, I know I have a gob of frosting on my hand. It looks so much better when you try and make it fall off the edge, but I don't really want to make it fall off the edge because I don't want it to clean it up. I'm going to have to clean up the pan anyways, but... Still feels like I have frosting on my hand. So I dropped some frosting all over the floor there and not noticing. Thank you for the auto host. We gotta take that tenderloin off. Heat off there. And why not? We got some stock. We actually already have some stock ice cubes here from pork. I'm going to use up my old pork ice cubes. Let's see if I can't squeeze this out for these last couple here. Not have to refill it. Heat back on in the pan here. See what these guys are like. Softer than I expected. and definitely very raspberry. Very raspberry. I think that those are a win. I might have to make those again. Might want to be more careful in making them nice and pretty when you're scooping them out. Better job than I did there, because they didn't change at all. But a bit more agua tonight. Switch to a spoon here since dragging the tongs is horrible on the microphone. Just reduce this down until it starts getting thick, and then we'll add this butter in there, and we'll have slightly delayed pan sauce. I mean, that could have been a little bit quicker if I didn't let the pan get that cold. Turn the heat down here as we're adding the butter in. Excuse me. And there you go, pan sauce. You can continue to reduce this down at a lower heat here. So you're going to have to keep stirring it, keep the butter in. Really want to add the butter at the very end, because if you want to reduce it more, it's going to break worse. So I'm going to cut the heat on that there. Bit of fresh pepper. And pinch more salt. I think I'm going to go bowl tonight. Yeah, bowl. Nice healthy serving our potato and cabbage slaw with bacon and sour cream. Grab this guy who is nice and medium rarish. Pour a little bit of that juice over the top. And there we go. We got those, and we got these. Grab my phone here for some Instagram shots. Got raspberry seeds in my teeth. Cookies. Alright, so I'm going to call it a night there, guys. I'd like to thank everyone for joining me tonight. I hope you all have a lovely evening. I am going to, as usual, throw you on to my past stream slideshow, and we'll give a look for someone to give you guys a host for real quick here. So I will have you someone to look forward to here shortly. I hope you all have a great evening. I will be back on Friday, 4:30. Don't have plans yet. Got to go shopping. Yeah, lots of pork to work with. Thanks for joining me tonight. Have a great night.